Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Our program is about to begin. Please take your seats. Brother Kessler, will you please take the stage for the invocation? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Brother Richard Kessler. Brother Richard will be giving the invocation for dinner.
When I come to the mic, usually in a high school, it takes a moment longer for them to settle down and quiet, so you're a good crowd. Let's take a moment and place ourselves in the hands of a loving God. As we gather together this evening, we celebrate all that is good about this great nation. In a special way, we remember members of the military and their families. Remember those who have made the ultimate sacrifice for the freedoms that each day we enjoy. We are mindful that we are a people and a nation under one God, with liberty and justice for all. As Creator and Father, you have endowed each of us with inalienable rights. At the same time, you expect of each of these sons and daughters of yours that we live our lives as men and women you intend us to be. In this age of divisions and tensions, help us to be a people that you want us to become. Remove from our hearts all hatred and jealousies and all divisions. In a special season, let us be the people of hope and mercy. Bless the folks who are at our table. Bless the folks who have labored all day to prepare for this evening. Bless those who support the military but could not be present this evening. And bless those who are homeless and without places to rest and food enough to satisfy. Let our hearts be open this evening to see in one another your person, so that we might become people without a prejudice. Bless our national and local governmental leaders and officials. In a special way, bless all heads of families, that they might always be insightful and clear in their directions, so that we might follow a wise and a prudent path. We ask for many things in the name of your Son, our brother, and the gods that we recognize and worship. Amen. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the presentation of the colors.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome actor, motivational speaker, U.S. Army veteran, and master of ceremonies for the 2015 If Not Me, Then Who Gala, J.R. Martinez.
Good evening, everyone. Oh, okay, great. I'm here by myself. All right, good evening, everyone. Sounds more like it. I like that music that they brought me up to. What was it, actually? I don't know what it was, but what was it? What was it? I'm serious. Huh? Smash Mouth? Oh, that's new. That's better than, I did an event a couple months ago, and they brought me up. The guy that introduced me had this like kick-ass music. And then I come up and they play Alicia Keys' This Girl Is on Fire. Like, what are you trying to, like, I know I'm burnt, but the girl part, like, what are you trying to say? I was drinking, don't judge me on that. Welcome everyone to Philadelphia for the, Ryan's probably just, she's like, why did I ask him to do this? Like, I can see it's already starting off on the wrong foot. It's welcome everyone to Philadelphia for the 4th annual If Not Me, Then Who Gala. We are here tonight to celebrate how the Travis Manion Foundation is putting character into, don't walk in front of the teleprompter. But I trust those pictures are gonna look great later, right? Those pictures are gonna look good. She's like, I'm just gonna walk off. I'm not gonna ignore him. It's like we're married. Like, you just ignore me. You just walk away from me. I'm not married, but I have a lot of friends that are married that's what a marriage is like, pretty much, right? It's like listening and hearing. There's a difference between the two. And if you're married, you know there's a difference between the two. Can anyone vouch for that? Or am I by myself? Yeah, okay. There's only like 3 brave men that actually keep their hands up with drinks in their hand. And I think they're mummers. What the hell is this whole mummer thing? I just learned about this. It's like the Brazilian carnival for, like, you know, Philadelphia, but with 250-pound men. They're clothed. I didn't like it. I mean, it's cool. I'd probably do it if I lived in Philadelphia, I'm not gonna lie. So, all right, let me get back to the script before the beautiful lady walked in front of the teleprompter. But no, we're here tonight to celebrate how the Travis Manion Foundation is putting character into action. And each of you who chose to be here tonight in support of the foundation speaks volumes to your own character. All of you here this evening are making a huge impact in the lives of our nation's veterans, families of the fallen, and the next generation of leaders. And honestly, I personally want to thank you on behalf of all the veterans and all the family members. So seriously, thank you for taking time to come out this evening and support this amazing foundation. For those of you that have attended in previous years, welcome back, and you know kind of what you're getting into. For you first-timers, trust me, you're in for a special evening that's devoted to recognizing those who exemplify what it really means to put character into action. Personally, this is my first time attending, and I'm actually excited to be here this evening, not only to be able to learn more about the foundation and hang out with everyone that works within the foundation, but also at the same time to be amongst so many amazing individuals that are going to be honored this evening. To have an opportunity to share the brotherhood and sisterhood of service and character with all of you at the beautiful and historic Union League of Philadelphia really speaks to the power of, if not me, then who movement. Which, by the way, this place is beautiful, right? How about this place? Round of applause for this place. I walked in earlier, and I made the mistake of walking in upstairs, and I was wearing a sweater and, slacks, and walked in, and immediately the guy was like, very politely though, "No, you can't come in, there's a side entrance." What? Like, I immediately went to being Hispanic and being raised in the South. I immediately went to that place of like, whoa, I've worked hard to be able to walk through the lobby of the hotel. What do you mean? I don't have to go into the side anymore, to the back door. But then I was explained about the history, and I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. So a collared shirt, that's all it takes, right, Ryan? It's a collared shirt, that's all it is. So I'm gonna walk through the lobby tomorrow morning with a collared shirt and like literally nothing else. Just a collared shirt. See how far that gets me. And you'll see me like running away from the guy, like, "You can't catch me," with just a collared shirt on, and just see what happens. I'll never be invited back, but at least I went out with a bang, which a bang is something that is a part of my life. Bad joke. By now, you've noticed that the Travis Manion Foundation has a gold box that was placed on your chair. If you haven't noticed that, then we have some problems. Please accept this gold box as a small token of appreciation from the Travis Manion Foundation for your continued support of those who bravely protect our freedom and way of life. You will also notice a donation card just like this one right here that is on your table, on your place setting, actually. And as you hear the incredible stories of how tonight's honorees have put character into action, we hope that you will feel compelled to further support the impactful work of the Travis Manion Foundation before the end of the night. As we begin our program, I'd like to thank the sponsors who make tonight possible. While If Not Me, Then Who is a grassroots movement fueled by individuals who take on the challenge, the incredible growth and reach of the movement would not be possible without our generous partners. And I ask you, as I mentioned every single one of them, please hold your applause to the very end. At honor level sponsors, Johnson & Johnson. Why do we even is this Johnson & Johnson table? That speaks, yeah. Hugo, where you at, Hugo? Right here. Oh my God, you were ready. Come on up here, Hugo, real quick. You don't have to clap for him. You don't even know who he is. Don't clap for him. No, don't clap. Come on, I'm going off script. This is what happens when you have a cocktail reception before the actual event. Yeah. So as you guys know, there's an Army-Navy game happening this weekend. How many of you know that? Yeah, I know there's a lot of Navy in here, right? How many Army? Yeah! Well, Army, we got something for you here. Here we go. How about that, Hugo? Yeah, baby! Yeah, baby! Yeah!
Go Army, be Navy!
That's right. All right. You make sure all those Army guys got your back the rest of the night. Yeah, I'm saying those Navy guys travel in packs. They stick together. Where's the Navy guys at? You just whistle. You don't raise your hand. Are you not proud? Where's the Navy guys at? There we go. We got a few hands. All right, cool. Well, go Army. Right, sir? Secretary? Go Army, right? Yeah, the secretary is with us. All right. He's got our back. All right, champion level sponsors, Astro Dynamic, Goldman & Sachs, J. Walter Thompson, Penn Medicine, and Poretta and Orr Inc. Okay, Poretta and Orr, one person. At the challenge level sponsors, there's Gorski Family, Kesselring Family, all right, Kessel, New Day USA, Penn Mutual, Team Jesse Foundation. Wow, I expected you guys to really make some noise. I met those guys earlier, and yeah, I expected them. You guys are toning it down. You're being respectful. That's good. S&K Sales and West Pharmaceutical Services. At the integrity level, Human Geo, Vynamic, Mr. Chip and Dr. Kathleen Erb Brower, Stephen and Maureen Chadwick, John and Jesse Denome, Ron and Joy Fiegels, Augie and Maria Fix and family, Michael McDonald, John and Gail Moscow, and Poland Capital? Is it Poland? Poland, all right, Poland Capital. We'd also like to take this opportunity to additionally thank Penn Mutual and David Schroeder. David, a United States Naval Academy rugby player, was chosen this year as the first recipient of the Penn Mutual of Significance Award. This award is granted to a rugby player who has made a substantial contribution to society and came with a $5,000 donation to be made to the charity of Schroeder's choice. And of course, which charity did he choose? The Travis Manion Foundation. Please join me. Now, can you guys please join me in giving a loud and generous applause to all of the sponsors who made this night possible. Thank you so much. As an Army veteran myself, I cannot stress enough how important it is to have a strong support system in place for all of those transitioned out of the military, as well as the families of those who never return home. Every generation of veterans face unique situations when they transition, and our post 9/11 veterans are no different. I've seen some of these struggles firsthand from the most rapidly growing segment of veterans. One constant struggle for returning veterans is the void many feel when they take off their military uniform and no longer feel like they have skills that can translate into the corporate world. But this population of American heroes is being empowered by the Travis Manion Foundation to not only provide them an outlet to contribute, but to share their commitment to service with the next generation. Veterans are teaching young adults exactly how to put character into action in their own communities. And at the helm of this amazing movement is someone who has taken up the mantle of veteran advocacy and propelled the words, "If not me, then who?" to become the call to action that is connecting the 1% who've served with the 99% who have not. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming, and make it loud, please, welcoming to the stage the president of the Travis Manion Foundation, Ryan Manion Borick.
Thank you, JR, for that wonderful introduction. And, you know, I knew when we asked you to MC this year that we were going to have a little bit of a different feeling in the room. And I'm so happy that we did, and I'm so happy that you accepted. On behalf of the entire Travis Manion Foundation, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us here this evening. I would be remiss if I didn't start by acknowledging the team at the Travis Manion Foundation. This group of individuals works tirelessly, day in and day out, for the mission. Every day, I am in awe of their passion and drive towards a common goal. Can I ask all of the TMF staff to stand now and be recognized? I may not say it enough, guys, but I want each and every one of you to know how much I value all that you do. I also want to thank tonight our incredible board of directors, most of which are here with us tonight. Your belief and support in TMF has fueled our growth, and for that I am forever grateful. Tonight, we welcome several families of the fallen who are honoring their loved ones by carrying on their legacy through service. I would like to ask each guest to stand when your name is called and also request that the audience hold their applause until each of the families have been recognized. Amber Baum, wife of Army Sergeant Ryan Baum. Doreen and Pat Capillari, parents of Navy Lieutenant Valerie Capillari Delaney. Bonnie Carroll, wife of Army National Guard Brigadier General Tom Carroll. Shannon Shepard, girlfriend of Navy SEAL Special Warfare Operator Petty Officer First Class Glenn Doherty. Tracy Garbers, wife of Navy SEAL Chief Warrant Officer Gary Garbers. Jane Horton, wife of Army Specialist Christopher Horton. Heather Kelly, wife of Marine Corps First Lieutenant Robert Kelly. Amy Looney, wife of Navy SEAL Lieutenant Brendan Looney. John and Gail Moscow, parents of Navy Lieutenant Christopher Moscow. Andrea, Kara, and Megan Phipps, wife and daughters of Navy Lieutenant Commander Michael Phipps. Mary McFarland and Amanda Charney, mother and fiance of Army Staff Sergeant Mark Small. The fallen heroes of these men and women made the ultimate sacrifice to protect our freedom and way of life. Their character, leadership, and selfless service motivate us to share their legacy with the next generation. Tonight, we gather to honor and salute their actions. When I began thinking about tonight, I couldn't help but reflect back over the years to see how far that we've come. This foundation began as a labor of love from a woman who had just lost her only son in Iraq. My mom, Janet Manion, was and still continues to be the visionary behind everything we do. When TMF began in 2007, my dad and I felt like it was a great way for my mom to help channel her grief into giving back to others. We stood on the sidelines while she started making moves. By 2010, TMF was a recognized and vital organization in the veteran service world. With a small staff of 4 people, Janet Manion was quickly making a name for herself as a woman who was making a tremendous impact for the military community. Around this time, she decided that it was time to hire an executive director. And I remember quickly sprucing up my resume and submitting it for consideration. And for those who knew my mom, trust me, she grilled me pretty hard before she ultimately offered me the position. I knew at the time that her passion had also become mine. But if not for her, we would never be where we are today. My mom and I worked side by side until she passed from cancer. But every day she speaks to me. I'll never forget the first 9/11 Heroes Run we had in Doylestown in 2007. We had close to 500 people show up to run, and I thought to myself, wow, this is really cool. We had 500 people come out. I hope we can do the same thing next year and make this an annual event. Right around the same time that I was having those thoughts, my mom turned to me and my dad and said something along the lines of, "This was great, now we need 50 of these all over the country." I laughed to myself at the seemingly unachievable thought. But pretty much as always, she was right. In 2015, we executed 55 9/11 Heroes runs across the country and around the world. We brought out close to 50,000 people to remember September 11th and the men and women who defended us on that day and in the years since. I share with you these thoughts about my mom because it's important to understand where the Travis Manion Foundation comes from. We come from a place where the next big idea may seem incomprehensible to even wrap our heads around. But by no means will that stop us from trying. Our mission was clear at the beginning, but it was also a bit separate. We wanted to make sure that we were providing support to veterans and families of the fallen. And because of the character that Travis displayed from a young age all the way to the last day of his life, we also wanted to make sure that we played a part in shaping the next generation of leaders. What we didn't realize at the time was just how much these two went hand in hand. Think about this for a second. In World War II, 12% of the population served. Veterans were everywhere in our communities. They were our teachers, coaches, community leaders, and so on. They played a part in influencing the lives of the next generation, and this in turn led to the incredible long-term success of America. Fast forward to present day. Less than 1% of our population has served. Today, America has 15 times less veterans serving in their communities as role models, mentors, coaches, and leaders. But again, what may seem insurmountable to most is not to the Travis Manion Foundation. We have already begun to close that divide. Thanks to our amazing partnership with Johnson & Johnson, our Character Does Matter program has reached over 100,000 young adults. These students are taking with them the message that character can be put into action by serving in their own community. We've helped generate over 30,000 hours of community service where veterans, families of the fallen, and student leaders have joined together to make an impact. The veterans facilitating this work are being provided purpose, camaraderie, and a sense of belonging that most have not felt since leaving active duty. They again feel a part of something bigger than themselves, especially when they see the impact they're having on the next generation. There's a quote from Cicero that reads, "Within the character of the citizen lies the welfare of a nation." I believe that this speaks directly to what we are trying to accomplish at the Travis Manion Foundation. We are working every day to empower veterans and families of the fallen to be the leaders who activate, if not me, then who, in their own communities. We are putting these individuals in a position to inspire young adults and not only get involved, but to challenge themselves and their peers to lead the way. One individual who has gone above and beyond this call to action is here with us this evening. She has the unique distinction of being a veteran and the wife of a fallen hero. She is a presenter for the Travis Manion Foundation's Character Does Matter program. Her story of loss, finding her way, and now leading from the front is truly inspiring. Let's take a closer look now at the journey of Amber Baum.
Before character can be put into action, it must first be revealed within. Amber Baum's life, loss, and ultimate comeback after her husband, Sergeant Ryan Baum, was killed in a sniper attack is the story of her character in action.
When Ryan was killed, I was 9 months pregnant with Leia. She had never met her father. So every day for 4 years, it was just a story, it was just a name. I remember one day, Leia asked me, how do I love somebody I never met? And it broke my heart, and I didn't have an answer for her. Thank goodness the Travis Manion Foundation came into my life and gave me that answer, and that answer was through service. After their presentation, I remember going out into the hallway and falling on my knees and just crying, uncontrollably crying. They had just told me in 30 minutes what I had been so desperate to find the last 4 years. I immediately went to their table and signed up for anything and everything they had to offer, And then when they introduced their programs of service to me, my desire for service kind of blossomed into something that it never has been before. Within the boundaries of the Travis Manion Foundation, my service has sharpened beyond anything that I thought it could. When I joined the military, I did it because I thought it was the right thing to do, and I served happily and selflessly, and now I'm serving for the same exact reasons, but my strength in service is only solidified more because I see how I can help others and change others' lives for the better. I see how it's helped my life change my life for the better.
Honoring the fallen by challenging the living. This is now Amber Baum's mission. Living proof that if not me, then who isn't something you say, it's something you live. Today, a presenter of the Character Does Matter program, Amber's life epitomizes character in action.
This past spring, we had a service project at our local estuary center, and families and students came out to selflessly, take time out of their weekend when they could have been doing anything else, and they wanted to honor the fallen. Before we started in our project, I gave every single person that served a fallen soldier's name. And before we served, we got in that circle and I took a video of it, and every single person did a roll call of a fallen soldier or a fallen hero.
Specialist Jeffrey Bisson, KIA 2007. I
remember it was so amazing to see every single one of their legacies be carried out in that act of service that day. And to know that young people are going out and selflessly serving in honor of my late husband is nothing short of a miracle in growth and a miracle in healing. It has fundamentally transformed the way I grieve. It's no longer, I feel sorry for myself, I don't want to get out of bed today, it's too hard. It's motivation. These kids are going out and doing selfless acts of service because of a story they heard of a fallen soldier. And that's just when I feel that Ryan's honored the most, and that's the legacy that I want to leave of my husband.
As Amber continues to inspire tomorrow's leaders to live a life of service, the Travis Manion Foundation challenges each of us to find our character within and reveal it to the world through action.
Amber, could I have you just stand again for us, please, so we could recognize you? To see the amazing transformation that Amber experienced is a powerful example of how the Travis Manion Foundation continues to honor the fallen by challenging the living. Amber is truly an amazing individual, and I am in awe of how she pushes forward every day. But make no mistake, Amber represents this generation of veterans who continue to serve both in and out of uniform. She is the essence of what this night is all about. We need to look no further than our post 9/11 veterans to inspire and motivate the youth of today. This is not a new concept by any means. We as a country have been fortunate to have service members who proudly defend this nation and then return home to continue their commitment in different ways. But it's up to all of us to highlight these incredible stories of service that are happening right now, so future generations can themselves be inspired and continue the great American legacy of making a difference. And with my mom as an inspiration to always think big, no matter how hard the challenge, rest assured that the Travis Manion Foundation will lead the way. Thank you so much.
Man, I don't know about you guys, but I'm moved already by what I've already seen here tonight. It's amazing to see someone ultimately kind of benefit from the services of this amazing foundation and ultimately say, we're going to be the leader and we're going to be one of the biggest voices out there, which is really great. And I think that's who our service members are and who their families are. We're individuals that once we find that answer, once we were given an opportunity, once we're given a chance, we ultimately take that and we run with it and we ultimately become leaders and we bring others to essentially follow us. And we're all helping each other. That's what it's all about. So, I mean, there aren't enough words to describe how the foundation's work is touching people like Amber in such a meaningful way, but we can see through Amber's story that she is now leading from the front of the If Not Me, Then Who movement, thanks to the work of the foundation. That amazing work is certainly catching the attention of those who live in the veteran landscape. There is exciting news that we will break live tonight, but before we do, we need to preface with a short video. So let's take a look.
Just because you're hurt, just because you were broken, doesn't mean that you're out for the count. You can get back up, and that's what these games are showing the world.
As long as you know what your passion is, don't let anything stop you from pursuing. Leave everything out there.
If you have a positive mindset and you tell yourself, I can do this, I can accomplish it, it's gonna happen. It's possible.
12 warriors, 3 rounds of intense competition, $240,000 at stake. Only one takes home the title of champion. We'll find out who, as these American heroes, all U.S. military veterans, take it to the limit.
And now to break this exciting news, I'd like to welcome to the stage U.S. Army veterans and former Congressman Patrick Murphy, along with U.S. Navy veteran, go Army, Travis Manion Foundation, Matt V member, and winner of the 2015 Triumph Games, my crush, Red Ramos.
Thanks so much, JR. It's great to be here with Red and to all of you tonight. This is pretty awesome. As you can see, the Triumph Games was really an amazing competition that brought these 12, what we call the terrific 12 together to compete. And Red, why don't you just tell a little bit about yourself and where you're from and what does it feel like to be a champion?
It's weird. It's the first time I've been introduced that way, so it feels pretty special. I was a Navy corpsman with the Marines. I'm not that special because I have 3 other brothers that did the same job. 2 of them are police officers right now. They were also combat vets. They were Navy corpsmen with the Marines. One was 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines, the other with MARSOC. And then my little brother, I just had the privilege of welcoming home from Japan about a week ago. And he's with 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines as well. So we have 3 out of 4 brothers. We're actually with the same exact company. So we have we're all brothers, and then at the same time, we have that second kind of brotherhood that most of the people in the room here understand that you get when you're when you're with the Marines or any other military organization. So I just have a pretty cool family, and most of us have kind of double that brotherhood. We have the actual brotherhood, and then we have a Marine Corps brotherhood as well. So we're very close.
We're Army brotherhood,
Same thing.
Well, you know what Marine stands for, right? If Tom Manning's right here, he might kick my butt by saying this bad joke, but you know what Marine stands for, right? Because you're a Navy guy, so I know you're Marine. Muscles are required, intelligence not essential. Right golf's on my table, so I know he has my back. He's an Army guy too, so don't worry. I know Army stands for Ryan, because Ryan's like, I shouldn't have invited Murphy. This was a bad judgment call. Army stands for aren't ready to be Marine yet. So there you go, I'll be fair.
No, I have to say, behind every Army guy, and you have amazing Army soldier right here, but after every Army guy, you could really see somebody that almost went to become a Marine. So, I mean, he was almost there.
We'll see Saturday. Well, listen, this partnership that we're announcing, as you saw, on CBS Sports, we aired the Triumph Games, which was really this competition of these 12 great veterans competing in adaptive sports and a triathlon and e-gaming and then motorsports. And it was awesome. And as I mentioned, as you saw, that Redmond was a champion. We wouldn't have been able to do this without the support of Alex Gorski and Johnson & Johnson and so many of you in this room. But next year is going to be even bigger. And that's why we are so excited to announce that we are partnering with the Travis Manion Foundation and the Character Does Matter program for next year's Triumph Games, and make sure that they know, as our nonprofit partner, to make sure that we continue to bridge that military-civilian divide that's in our country. As Ryan said so eloquently earlier, it's less than 1% of America that has served the longest wars in American history. It's been 2.7 million Americans in the last 14 years. And to hear these stories of great Americans like Red and so many others, and to show how they overcome such basically incredible odds to be where they are and to become champions like Red is pretty awesome. So we can't wait to partner this year in 2016 with Ryan and the Travis Manion Foundation, and we hope you all tune in. God bless all of you. Thank you.
Oh, light on my feet, Secretary. Light on my feet. How many of you guys voted for me on Dancing with the Stars? Don't lie. Which is why I won. Thank you. Thank you very much. How many of you voted for Rob Kardashian? Yeah, all right. I'm like one of the very few people in this world that can actually say, I beat a Kardashian. I actually did. I didn't go to jail for it either. Take that, Kanye. As you guys have noticed by now, when you get a bunch of military guys in different branches together, we just like to get on each other and have a good time. It's all in good fun. At the end of the day, we're all working towards the same common goal. I'll tell you a quick story. I was 19 years old. I was in the Army. I was over in Iraq, and I was a private. And as a private, you have no opinion. You have no voice. And yet I was doing PT in Iraq with my platoon, and you would think as a young 19-year-old I should be in the front of the platoon, essentially setting the pace. But no, I was in the rear. And I was huffing and puffing, and I remember saying to my platoon sergeant, this makes no sense. Because I'm thinking logically, this makes no sense. If somebody were to attack us right now, I'm too exhausted to fight back. Which makes sense in my mind. And of course, he shut me up and kept running. And we passed this camp, and we see these guys sitting in lawn chairs, and they just kind of as we pass them, they're like, what's up? And we're just huffing by, and then we get back to our camp, and I remember asking my squad leader, hey, those guys that we ran past, who were those guys? He says, that was the Air Force. And I was like, shit, I should have waited. I should have waited, damn it. But I can still join? Oh, I got an Air Force recruiter here. Stop now. Yeah, so I'm done now. So no, Air Force, can I join the Air Force? No, I don't think I can join the Air Force. But no, to what Red and Patrick just mentioned, I can't think of a better collaboration than the Travis Manion Foundation and the Triumph Games. How appropriate is it that this year's winner, Red Ramos, I like that, is a beneficiary of the Foundation's Veteran Services. That's pretty cool. And on that note, the next portion of our program speaks directly to the value of veteran services. To introduce our next guest, I'd now like to bring to the stage the Director of Survivor Services for the Travis Manion Foundation, Amy Looney.
Hi, good evening. Thank you, JR. We are privileged to have with us this evening the Secretary of Veteran Affairs, Robert McDonald. When Ryan and I had the honor of meeting Secretary McDonald last month, it was clear that he is incredibly passionate and driven about helping support veterans and our military community. Secretary McDonald is a 1975 graduate of the United States Military Academy at West Point, and an alumnus of the University of Utah, where he earned an MBA. An Army veteran and both airborne and Ranger qualified, he served with the 82nd Airborne Division. Upon leaving military service, Captain McDonald was awarded the Meritorious Service Medal. In 1980, Mr. McDonald joined Procter & Gamble, a Fortune 50 company, and he rose through the ranks to become Chief Executive Officer and President. He retired in June of 2013. Nominated by President Obama as the 8th Secretary of Veteran Affairs on June 30th, he was confirmed by the United States Senate on July 29, 2014. Ladies and gentlemen, Secretary of Veteran Affairs, Robert McDonald.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's great to be here. Thank you. Thank you very much, and thank you, Amy, for the very kind introduction. When Amy and Ryan came to visit me in Washington, D.C., I really said I had to be here tonight because I wanted to be here to underscore the importance of what the Travis Manion Foundation does. When Tom had written the original book, Brothers Forever, I bought it the day it was published, and it really spoke to me. It spoke to me about the relationship of two young men, the relationships that get forged at places like Annapolis or West Point. And it spoke to me also, it speaks to me today because the Deputy Secretary of the Veterans Affairs Department is my classmate, Sloan Gibson. And he and I lived next to each other our senior year at West Point. We've known each other for over 40 years. And just like in the military, there's nothing like doing something you love with someone you love. And it takes that mission, that purpose, to an even higher level. I think it's terrific today to be in the city of brotherly love and to see all the beautiful holiday decorations throughout the city and in this glorious building. But it reminds me that this is a season of gifts. It's the right time of year for that. A lot of giving this season. And in a sense, no gift more valuable, no treasure more precious than purpose to our lives. I've believed in the sense of purpose for many years, whether it was when I was a Boy Scout or when I went to West Point to try to free people who were living in societies that didn't have freedom, or when I joined the Procter & Gamble company to try to improve lives with our products, or when I was asked to help lead the VA. Purpose is important. To me, there's nothing like living a life of purpose, and that's what the Travis Manion Foundation is all about. Wouldn't it be a tragedy if young people today led their life by simply meandering through life without direction rather than living life of purpose? So I thought that tonight was an unusually extraordinary opportunity for all of us to recommit ourselves to purpose in our lives. Imagine if any one of us was near death here in Philadelphia, or we're in a hospital here in Philadelphia, and someone we love says to us, "Did you accomplish what you set out to accomplish in your life?" What would be your answer? Would it be, "Gee, I don't know, I never really had a purpose"? Would it be, "Well, gosh, I got close, but I really didn't accomplish my purpose"? When I've spoken to individuals at universities and young people around the world, I always say the most important thing you can do is to decide what your purpose in life is. And this is what the Travis Manion Foundation does, and it's the reason I'm so thrilled to be here tonight. It's about caring for those who have borne the battle, as Abraham Lincoln said in his second inaugural address. It's about giving veterans and the families of those who've fallen a renewed sense of purpose. It's about helping youngsters in local communities find purpose through service and through leadership. Individually, we can make a tremendous difference. but collectively think of what we can accomplish. When I think about these things, I go back to my favorite story, the book I enjoy the most. It's the story of Don Quixote. It's Man of La Mancha, written by Miguel de Cervantes, one of the first novels ever written. And for those of you unfamiliar with it, it was made famous in a musical called Man of La Mancha. It's about a man who's mad. He wears a hat that is actually a bowl that people get their hair cut and shaved in. He carries a lance, which is really not a lance. He rides a horse that's really not a horse. And he spends his life doing gallant deeds and treating people with chivalry. In a bar, he runs into a barmaid, a prostitute named Aldonza, but he treats her like a princess, and she goes on the journey with him. He has a squire named Sancho who also goes on that journey with him. Both are intrigued by this old man who's mad. And as the story goes, the man goes out through his life and he does good deeds for others. That is his purpose. At the end of the show, at the end of the musical, Don Quixote dies. And Sancho and Aldonza are standing next to Don Quixote. And Sancho turns to Aldonza, who Don Quixote called Dulcinea because that's the name of a princess. And he said, Aldonza, Don Quixote is dead. And Aldonza turns back and says, my name is Dulcinea. And I think that's the challenge. Can we make the difference in the life of at least one person? And through that, have them make the difference in the life of another. And as this cascades throughout our society, we make a difference in the life of everyone. As Miguel de Cervantes wrote, after he wrote this book, he said, who's mad? Is it the person who sees the world the way that it is? Or is it the person who sees the world the way that it should be? I think what the Travis Manion Foundation charges us to do is to see the world the way that it should be and to make that world the way it should be. Thank you very much.
I'm trying to get Secretary McDonald to do Dancing with the Stars, but okay, so I'll tell the story. If I mess up, sir, please interject. So I saw him in Chicago, and about a month ago, and I was like, sir, he was like, oh, great job on dancing. I was like, yeah, how about you? He was like, no, he's from Gary, Indiana. And who else is from Gary, Indiana? Well, Michael Jackson. So Secretary McDonald so selflessly, said pretty much, he prayed up to God and he said, hey, you don't have to give me all those dancing moves, give them to Michael. So he was left with nothing. So that's why he is against going on Dancing with the Stars. But I'm starting the hashtag. It's Dancing Secretary. And if we can all make this go viral tonight, that would be great. See, you have votes already in this room, sir. I'm telling you. You can do it. He's a great man, great leader as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we've seen some inspiring stories already this evening, and the foundation has become a trailblazer in the veteran community, but there is still much more on the horizon. But with your support, the Travis Manion Foundation can reach even more veterans, families of the fallen, and young adults through their programs. I urge you to take advantage of the table cards in front of you. If each of our guests here this evening donated just $50, that could fund Character Does Matter presentations to take place at more than 60 schools across the country. Now think about it. For a minute, just think about, like, if an average school has 250 students, we would spread the "if not me, then who" movement to nearly 15,000 young adults, all because of this one night. That's $50. There are staff members at the registration table who can quickly process your tax. You can go ahead, sweetheart. Your tax-deductible donation, or you can simply fill out the card and place it in the convenient drop box by the entrance. We also encourage each of you to visit the registration table to pick up your complimentary photo prints from tonight's cocktail reception. I want to see those pictures. With that, we now have a delicious dinner prepared for your enjoyment as you listen to the sounds of Baur Jazz. Enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will be resuming our program in 5 minutes. Please find your way back to your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Our program is about to resume.
That's good. All right, ladies and gentlemen. If we could all slowly start making our way to our seats, that would be phenomenal. Phenomenal. Get you guys home, tucked into bed. What? I gotta fill space here. I gotta fill time. I'm trying to. Ramos! Red Ramos! What's up, Heather? All right, guys, here we go. Shh. Could I have everyone's attention, please? I hope that you guys enjoyed your dinner and you're most importantly enjoying your dessert. But we would now like to recognize several young individuals who have not only accepted the If Not Me, Then Who challenge, but have taken the commitment to a new level. These young adults were introduced to the foundation through the Character Does Matter program, which is honored to have Johnson & Johnson as the presenting sponsor. Let's look at their stories now.
The If Not Me, Then Who scholarship program recognizes and rewards high school students who demonstrate the remarkable character, leadership, and selfless service embodied by our nation's military service members. This year's scholarship recipients participated in one of the Travis Manion Foundation's leadership courses in partnership with the Bob Woodruff Foundation and facilitated by our volunteer veteran mentors.
I want them to walk away with this with kind of a roadmap of how they can practice being a leader in their daily lives. I want to help them with that roadmap so that they can practice it moving forward.
These students are leading lives most in the spirit of the If Not Me, Then Who ethos. Kyle Crawford, from St. Joseph's Preparatory School in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Kyle completed the TMF leadership course last year and soon after volunteered to help underprivileged communities through the Character Does Matter program presented by Johnson & Johnson. As a leader on his school's rugby team, Kyle sprung into action upon hearing the news of the tragic passing of a fellow student athlete.
I think that when you're in a situation where where somebody dies, and particularly when it's somebody who's your own age so suddenly, I think that the worst thing you can do is keep everything bottled up inside. So I made it apparent to, or at least tried to make it apparent to all my fellow classmates, and particularly the young underclassmen, that if they needed to, they could let it out to me, and I'd listen.
He's always been the one to step up and say, this is my team, I'm going to lead us in the right way, and always led by example.
Also from St. Joseph's Prep, Dominic Colon first learned about the Travis Manion Foundation through a Character Does Matter presentation hosted at his school. This summer, Dominic passed on an annual summer vacation to volunteer his service to help a struggling community in rural Virginia, and credits his selfless decision to what he learned during the Travis Manion leadership course.
Having participated in the Travis Manion boot camp, it kind of opened me up to how I can be of service to others and how many opportunities there really are to help others.
Dominic's authentic self isn't loud vocally, but it is very loud in terms of the size of his heart and his desire to serve the other.
Brianna Santiago is a senior at Crystal Ray New York High School and learned about the Travis Manion Foundation during a United States Naval Academy summer seminar program. Brianna participated in the TMF leadership course twice, demonstrating an outstanding commitment to her personal development by leading her peers.
Working with the veterans in the program, I think definitely allows you to see what leadership is, because a lot of times when people think of leadership, they think of people in the service, and the fact that we get to work with them so closely, and it lets you know that this is possible for anyone. Anyone can be a leader, and I didn't know that before the program.
The way she exemplifies character is through her action, and she established that early on in the season that she was a committed leader to the team.
Kyle, Dominic, and Brianna epitomize the if not me, then who spirit, and we are proud to name them our 2015 scholarship recipients through the Character Does Matter program presented by Johnson & Johnson. Ladies and gentlemen, meet our if not me, then who scholarship recipients.
Here to present these Character Does Matter scholarships is Johnson & Johnson Veterans Employee Council Chair and Character Does Matter presenter, Mike Moran. Ladies and gentlemen, please give, you guys want to say something? No? You want to say something? You don't want to talk, Brianna? No? What about you? You want to say something? Come here.
I'll wing it if you want me to.
Come on,
In case you haven't noticed, I didn't prepare anything, so. But I just want to say thank you to everybody who's here tonight. It's been an extreme honor to be able to participate in such a tremendous foundation. And I think the foundation has really helped me develop as a person, as a leader. And I could not be more thankful to the Travis Manion Foundation, so thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a round of applause to our scholarship recipients as they come to the stage. Kyle, Dominic, and Brianna Santiago. Ball is life, right, Santiago? Ball is life. Ball is life. You think you could beat me on a game of basketball, Brianna? Yes, you're right. You're right, you could. I'm glad you're confident in that. I'm confident in the fact that you can beat me in a game as well. Congratulations to you guys, honestly. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. All right, get off the stage. Like, what are you doing? Go home. Go post on Instagram and Snapchat your award that you got. Shit, kids. You don't want to speak? Get off. Are we good, Derek? We're good to go. Ryan, we good? We're good. All right. I'd now like to welcome to the stage last year's Corporate Leadership Award recipient representing Johnson & Johnson, their chairman and CEO, Alex Gorski.
Wow. It's a pretty tough act to follow, JR up here. You know, I always thought that Janet was somebody who could make us all blush and feel like we were pushing the edge of the envelope a little bit. But JR, you're doing a super job. Let's give him a big round of applause for kicking it up a notch. Make a few remarks about Ryan. You know, Ryan, seeing you up here tonight and reflecting back to the vision that your mother had. And I'd also be remiss before I get into a couple of other comments, just to, there were several of us who were there many years ago when we were sitting around after far too many bottles of wine saying, well, what the hell can we do next with the Travis Manion Foundation? And she says, well, we should have this big dinner at the Union League, fill that sucker up, get all these kind of CEOs in there, and, you know, really do the right thing. We said, you know, you obviously had way too much to drink, Janet. And I know right now she is smiling up there with a big grin, and she could not be prouder, Ryan, of the job that you're doing and the way that you've really taken it to the next level. I mean, really, who would have thunk that you'd have, the guy that won Dancing with the Stars, the, head of the Veterans Administration, the, Undersecretary of the Army and waiting, and all these other people here. She's just saying, see, Alex, I told you so. And so, Ryan, we're really proud of you, and thank you again for all that you do. But look, ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you, it's a real honor for me to be here tonight. And, last year, I was able to be here representing Johnson & Johnson. It's hard to believe that a year's gone by. And when I was up here talking about J&J, for many of us who get a chance to work in large organizations, we know that whenever you receive these kind of awards, it's never about you. It's really about the companies that we have the honor and, frankly, the humility to represent. And that was certainly the case with me for Johnson & Johnson. And I'd be remiss, because I think what makes that come alive, just like it says, if not me, then who? I think every day at Johnson & Johnson, we've got about 130,000 people around the world, many of whom are sitting right here tonight, who are veterans who've been deployed multiple times. And on top of their regular day jobs, where they're already probably working way too long, they find the time, the energy, the effort, and the commitment to say, what else can I do? How else can I make a difference? And to me, that's really what it's all about. And that's who got the honor last year. And I'd just like to thank all of my J&J colleagues sitting up here front. And if you'd just allow me just one moment and give them another big round of applause for what they do. Okay, and as you saw in some of the earlier video, I think it's one thing if a company manages to make a dinner and be a sponsor, but it's hard to do that with the Travis Manion Foundation, because the minute you get involved, it's like an infection. It takes you over. And I think in our case, we found out, we said, look, where could we make a difference in a very important area? And that's where Character Does Matter came in, and why we're so proud to be a sponsor. It was interesting, Bob McDonald and I were just having a conversation a few minutes ago, and one of the things we were talking about is, gosh, thank God we're not teenagers today. And you think about the world that they live in, where they're just inundated with social media and so many negative messages, so many bad examples, frankly. And when we saw this great example up here earlier of these, 3 young men and women who are really, they're doing good, they're doing well, and, we need more of that in this country. And to be able to be part of something like that, something that's been inspired by Ryan and the rest of the team, really making a difference where it counts at that age where they're so impressionable, and frankly, where you can make a huge difference on the vector for the rest of their life, is awesome. And so we're incredibly proud to be a part of that as well. And I want to give a big round of applause to the foundation for their continued work with Character Does Matter. So look, I feel incredibly honored, because I think the Corporate Leadership Award is held in very high regard. And the board takes the mission very seriously, and who we select. And I think if you look back on the recipients, it's really a list of top-tier benchmark companies. And I think the 2015 Corporate Leadership Award recipient is continuing to build on this great tradition and really trying to make a difference. And, it's amazing. If you spend time in the echo chamber between Philadelphia and Washington and New York, sometimes you think that, there's a real issue with business in America. And there's certainly a lot of things that we can do better. But I'm a believer in my heart that when we do business right, when we do business with real corporate social responsibility, looking out for the bottom line, but frankly looking out for the line that holds us together as a society where we can continue to advance, we make an incredible difference. And that's exactly the kind of things that a company like the Carlyle Group does. I've had a chance to work with the Carlyle Group in a number of different ways, and to be here tonight honoring them and a leader who's a Naval Academy graduate, Navy veteran, Dan Ackerson, and he's the vice chairman and special advisor to the board at the Carlyle Group, and he's been an advocate for growing veteran support for many, many years. And I've got to tell you, I think all of us who have had a chance and the honor to serve we've got an obligation and a responsibility to make sure that we're bringing that to the workplace. And Dan is the kind of person, he's the kind of leader who does just that. And his commitment to veteran causes has helped really take the whole effort at the Carlisle Group to the next level and really allowed their employees to continue the advancement of that ethos, if not me, then who movement. So let's just take a look for a moment at the amazing work that Dan and the rest of his colleagues at the Carlisle Group are doing.
The Travis Manion Foundation is committed to ensuring that if not me, then who spirit thrives not only in individuals, but throughout corporations. Dan Ackerson, a Navy officer veteran and the Carlisle Group's vice chairman and special advisor to the board, was inspired upon being introduced to the Travis Manion Foundation and its veteran support initiatives.
Those that come back injured, we have an obligation to take care of them and take care of their families, in my opinion. And that can be institutionalized by government action, complemented by private funding in such worthy causes as the Travis Manion Foundation.
The Carlisle Group has implemented a number of veterans-related events and programs.
We believe that you can do well and do good at the same time, and do good for others, where we take an active interest in our communities, not only in Washington, but where our portfolio companies work, where we really can extend ourselves in a positive sense within the community.
Dan teamed with other veterans at Carlisle to help colleagues better understand and appreciate the sacrifices made by our military families.
Knowing the Manion Foundation from prior experience, I invited Ryan Baur and Amy Looney to come down and give their story. I think we had 80 to 100 employees show up in this building alone to hear the story of the Travis Manion Foundation. You know, if you think this is a worthwhile effort, you donate and the firm will match it. And that number came close to $150,000 for an afternoon visit, which I thought was illuminating, interesting, compelling, and the employees responded.
For their ongoing commitment to veteran initiatives, we honor the Carlisle Group and its employees as the Travis Manion Foundation's 2015 Corporate Leadership Award recipients.
You know, Dan, it's interesting. I never saw that video before, and we didn't rehearse that do good, do well. And even though we went to different academies, I think a common bond that we have among all the academies in the service is an obligation to do good and do well. So it's really, I'm incredibly proud and honored to present the 2015 Travis Manion Foundation Corporate Leadership Award to the Carlisle Group, represented by Dan Ackerson. Dan?
Thanks, Alex. It's always easy to follow West Pointer. Now, you'd think I'm up here just to make a couple comments about the Army-Navy game, but all of you whoop-whoos out there, and you know who I'm talking to, whatever the number is, even up, because I don't ever take points. I don't give them either. I'll meet you afterwards, and we'll bet on the game tomorrow, because there was a lot of talk. Hugo, where are you? Yeah. Well, I know that. On a more serious note, on behalf of the employees and our portfolio companies around the world, particularly in this country, I'm humbled and very happy to accept this award for the Carlisle Group. I remember it was probably close to 5 years ago when I met Janet and Tom and Ryan and Amy, if you'll remember, on the pier at the Intrepid in New York, and I was stunned by what they said and how they articulated the mission of the Travis Manion Foundation. And because words do matter in our public discourse, the narrative that surrounds, if not me, who, is embodied in great institutions that represent the very best that this country has to offer. The Naval Academy, honor, courage, and commitment. West Point, duty, honor, country. These are descriptives that underpin such a worthy effort, and the results are shown in these young people who were up here earlier. When you think about it's about character, and unfortunately we see that in our public discourse of late, mainly around some of the election commentary. Character defines a nation. And what we've done here tonight is celebrate those that represent the very best that our nation has to offer. When I look around the room and I see so many people that I really, truly admire, General Paxton, you're the best the country has to offer. Jake Harriman, the best the country has to offer. And so many heroes here, some I've met, some I haven't. The Navy has another saying, those who stand and wait also serve. And I was very torn. It was hard for me to listen to all of the people who have lost loved ones in this post-9/11 era. You will stand and wait and carry on the traditions and the heritage of your lost loved ones to your children and your families, so your watch will not end. And it's a noble and worthy watch, an obligation you have, and you have my very deepest sympathies for the loss of your loved ones and those that are injured. The Travis Manion Foundation, though, takes a very sad event and turns it into a positive. They train our youth. They encourage them to be better than they think they can be. They help the wounded warriors come back. I mean, if you think about it, about 250,000 people exit the military a year. 250,000. And this transition back, in my time during the post-Vietnam period, we weren't welcomed back. At least this generation of young people do honor the service, but it's not enough to simply say thank you for your service and then go on and it's just like, how you doing? I think it's really important that corporations, organizations, such as the Travis Manion Foundation, breach that gap between the uniform and the civilian world. And in doing so, you honor their service. You honor their commitment and their sacrifice. And it's only through that that we can really say thank you for your service. I was in a board meeting recently, and we were having a rather spirited conversation. There was one other veteran, and he said nothing. And I was a little strident, for those of you that know me, I can be that way. Rob Bender, where are you? Rob Bender was a plebe when I was first class at the Naval Academy. And his brother, Tom, is my classmate. Proud to say I know them both well and what a great family they represent. But when you think about what does a veteran want? What does he or she need? Well, they need that transition help and assistance. I think one of the most important things is to make sure they get jobs. In our boardroom, the conversation surrounded, we had the head of HR there, and she was telling about these programs for protected classes, women and minorities. And I says, stop. I says, you do know there are women and minority veterans getting out of the service. Why aren't we putting them as our primary focus in terms of making job offers and offering training to? And it was like a light went off. We need more veterans in our boardrooms. We need more veterans in our leadership positions across this nation to make sure that these young men and women that are coming back not only get jobs, which I think is critically important, but also that they are able to transition with some of the trauma that they've experienced. We saw that in Vietnam. I'm sure my dad and my uncle saw it in World War II, but they didn't know what it was. My dad was a veteran of 21 years in the Navy. We lived in Navy housing, and I can tell you as a young boy, I always wondered why on the Saturday afternoon, I mean, we didn't have much choice in television, it was 3 channels, but there were a lot of people that self-medicated with alcohol. You'd walk into a room on a Saturday, they'd be sitting there with a cigarette burning down to the end of their fingers and with a beer in their hand, and as a kid you just said, gee. Fortunately, my dad never drank. And, but I had an uncle that came back from Iwo Jima wounded. And he was troubled, but not in a mean way. He was just always quiet. And it dawned on me then, when I was getting out of the Navy in 1975, what was required was a helping hand to transition. I told someone earlier today, when I got out of the Navy, I sent out 200 resumes. My wife was pregnant. I went to work for Fortune 25. They wouldn't cover our medical expenses when she had a baby. You just weren't welcomed, and until you got in the company. And last story, I went to a management meeting after being there about 6 months, a year, I forget. And remember, in 1975, our corporate leadership were likely to be World War II and Korea veterans. And the CEO said, well, all the veterans stand up. This is 1975, 76. And I'll bet you well over half, probably 2/3 of the people there stood up. I did that at General Motors when I was CEO. In the union-dominated plants and whatnot, I would say probably 25 to 30%. In management ranks, less than 10%, which is not good. I don't think a democracy with a world responsibility that we have can outsource their military. It has to come from the rich, the poor, and the middle class. That's what it was done for many, many years. And although I think the military today is a better military than I served in, they're more highly motivated, they're more highly trained, and they're better led. So the work that the Travis Manion Foundation is the next leg in a veteran's life or their family's life. And it's a critically important job that you all do. And it's worth its weight in gold. So it's an honor to stand before this group tonight and be associated with such a fine organization. And on behalf of the entire Carlisle group, I thank you very much.
Colonel Tom Manion served the United States Marine Corps and the Marine Corps Reserve for 30 years. He's the chairman emeritus of the Travis Manion Foundation, and last year he co-authored the book Brothers Forever, conveying the story of how 2 best friends and former Naval Academy roommates, Travis Manion and Brendan Looney, defined a generation's sacrifice after 9/11, and how their families carried on in their honor. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Colonel Tom Manion.
Well, thank you, JR. I want to thank Dan for all his support and his wonderful remarks tonight. Alex, you as well, the support of Johnson & Johnson, the Carlisle Group. It's really, making a difference for us in what we can do and how we can impact more as we move forward. This really is special night for us, and this is the 4th year, and as Alex shared, I can remember that night when we were with Janet and how much she wanted to have something like this, and I know she's looking down very proudly, and each year to see more and more of the momentum and the support, it's really pretty incredible. So thank you. I want to thank everyone that's here and all the support you've given the foundation, and it makes a difference. I also want to acknowledge the Gold Star families here tonight. Thank you for being here, and our distinguished guests, but really all our supporters. I really am in awe of the support that we get at the foundation. And really this growing impact, we've talked about if not me, then who, and it's, you know, it's more of a movement. It's more of a way of life. And, you know, so many in this room get it, but we run the risk is that, you know, we grow further and further apart as a country with those that are serving in uniform and those that aren't, that you know, we'll have this disconnect and you know, won't be there for us if we don't pay attention to it. So, you know, for me, this is really a grassroots movement. That's how I see it. And we used to talk about community by community. And, you know, Ryan talked about the runs tonight, and that's sort of what we have. We have reaching out to communities and bringing communities together and recognizing that service and sacrifice. I like to say it's, you know, for me, it's like the field of dreams. You know, if you build it, they will come. You know, the people want to do something. You see our 9/11 Heroes runs, you see those communities come out, you see those families. You go to a Character Does Matter talk or a service project and you see the energy. And it's pretty clear that America gets it, still gets it. And so it's really, really awesome to be one of, you know, hopefully many more cogs in the wheel to push that agenda forward. And we feel very fortunate to be there and to be part of that effort. You know, JR mentioned about the book. I had the opportunity this year to travel around the country and talk about the book of my son Travis and his great friend and Naval Academy roommate, Brendan Looney. And yeah, the story is about Travis and Brendan, but when you think about it, their story is America's story. It's the story of brotherhood, selfless service, a commitment to a cause bigger than oneself, friendship, family, and love. Love for this country and everything that it stands for. And often the stories we hear about our military address the needs. PTSD, TBI, physical therapy, employment, just being able to adjust when they get back here at home and transition back. And I believe, like we all do, that attention is necessary, and it's also equally important for our country to recognize and embrace the incredible example and inspiration, really, represented by this generation of volunteers. This generation that has stepped forward so selflessly to defend our freedoms during a time when we've been in conflict longer than any time in our nation's history. Each year, the foundation honors and recognizes these incredible Americans who have made a difference both in and out of uniform. They're a shining example for all of us. And the good news for this country is there's so many of them from this generation that we can be so proud of. Those like our past recipients, Brian Stan, Kevin Mincio is here tonight. Last year's recipient of our If Not Me Then Who Leadership Award, Jake Wood. Like those before him, the recipient of this year's If Not Me Then Who Leadership Award is also making a positive impact in the lives of others. Jake Harriman graduated from the Naval Academy in 1998, spent 7.5 years in the Marine Corps as an infantry and special operations commander, did 4 deployments, 2 deployments in the combat zone in Iraq, 2 disaster relief operations in Indonesia and Sri Lanka. But Jake's experience there convinced him that the war on terror wouldn't be won on the battlefield alone. The contributed causes of terrorism, lack of education, extreme poverty, also must be eradicated. So Jake, when he got out of the military, enrolled at business school at Stanford, where he founded Nuru International. And since 2009, Nuru Kenya and Nuru Ethiopia have enabled over 85,000, think about that, 85,000 people to lift themselves out of extreme poverty, all because of Jake's vision and dedication to service. So the If Not Me Then Who Leadership Award recognizes a member of our military and veteran community who has dedicated their life to service, is making a positive impact on the lives of others, puts character into action every day, and inspires that next generation of leaders. Let's take a look now at the amazing story of this year's recipient, Jake Harriman.
Jake Harriman spent 7 years in the Marine Corps as an infantry officer and Force Reconnaissance Platoon Commander. He deployed 4 times throughout Africa, Southeast Asia, and the Middle East, including 2 combat tours in Iraq, the last of which resulted in Jake being awarded the Bronze Star. After leaving the Marine Corps, Jake founded Nuru International, a new type of humanitarian organization that partners with rural communities in the developing world and other organizations to end extreme poverty.
Instead of number of wells drilled, number of schools built, number of clinics built, your goals become number of leaders who are empowered to make choices, number of leaders who are equipped to design those solutions, and an enabling environment where they can act on the decisions that they're making and implement the solutions that they're building.
To do this, Jake's organization started by examining the definition of extreme poverty, defined as living on less than $1.25 a day. The definition itself focuses on material solutions, solutions that have failed to work. By redefining extreme poverty to mean having a lack of meaningful choices for basic human rights, Jake's organization now employs sustainable solutions like equipping the poor with education and skills to drive self-sufficiency and reduce dependence on monetary aid.
Like the Travis Manion Foundation, Jake Harriman is putting his character into action, and tonight we honor Jake by naming him this year's If Not Me, Then Who Leadership Award recipient.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my distinct honor to welcome to the stage the 2015 If Not Me Then Who Leadership Award recipient, CEO and founder of the Nuru International, Jake Harriman. Jake.
So I hope you don't mind if I step away from the podium. I get really scared about these things, and they make me really nervous, so I'm just going to stand over here. I'm so humbled and honored tonight to be here to accept this award. You know, I feel really undeserving. The heroes in this room have inspired me so much tonight, and through their service, both before in the military and now out as veterans. Can we give everyone in the room, all the veterans, another round of applause, please? You know, I didn't have the opportunity, the privilege to serve with or personally know Travis. I knew him only by his reputation, a strong reputation of brave leadership and bold character. And it's my hope that I might be able to live up to the principles and the values that he stood for and lived by his entire life. And that in some small way, I might be able to honor his memory through my own actions. If not me, then who? Timely words for our nation. I believe those words have special meaning for all of us in this country today because they represent the type of leadership that we as a nation need right now. The type of leaders who will step forward from the rank and file into harm's way for the sake of others. Not because they're specially qualified or they have a unique talent or gift, but because they can. Because they must. Because someone has to stand up for freedom. Somebody has to stand up for what is right. And because honestly, at the end of the day, that's what real leaders do. Tonight, I'd like to share with you a little bit of my story and my journey to attempt to become that kind of leader that Travis was. And my hope is by sharing my story tonight, I might be able to inspire a few to also answer the call, step forward, and ask themselves, if not me, then who? In April of 2003, I found myself in a fighting hole facing north along Highway 7, the main avenue of approach for American forces during the early days of the Iraqi invasion. We just survived the first major contact in the war in a place called Nasiriyah, where we'd been ambushed, and we were able to fight through the city and set up a defensive perimeter north of the city. My guys and I were tired, we were hungry, we were scared. Southern Iraq at the time was one of the poorest places in the world. There was a terrible hunger problem, no access to health care or education for the kids. And what had been happening as we moved through the south was the regular Iraqi army was retreating to make a final stand in Baghdad. While Saddam was pushing his special forces, his Fedayeen guys, south, they were going hut to hut in these rural villages, coercing these poor farmers to fight us. Basically saying, look, your children are starving right in front of you. If you pick up this weapon and go fight these guys 10 miles south of here, we'll drop off a bag of rice every couple weeks. We were fighting these guys by the hundreds and thousands. And that kind of set the stage for what happened that morning north of Nasiriyah. So I got up out of my fighting hole and I walked the lines. I was checking on my guys. There was a thick fog, and I knew that as the fog lifted, they were going to start shooting at us again. And as I'm checking on my guys, I looked on the highway and I saw a small white car racing toward our position. So they just started packing bombs into cars and blowing them up in suicide bomber missions. So I grabbed 3 of my guys. We took off running toward the car to get it to stop. I fired a warning shot across the front of the car, and finally the car stops about 50 meters out. The driver hops out, starts waving his arms frantically and sprinting at me. So now I think this guy's strapped a bomb himself. He's going to blow himself up. So I'm yelling at him in Arabic to get on the ground. He's not listening. And as I raise my weapon, I think I have to take this guy out. I look behind him, and I see a large black military truck roll up behind his little white car. 6 guys in black jump out of the truck, run up to the car, and start shooting into the car. This man stopped dead in his tracks, starts screaming, turned around, and starts running back to the car. And that's when I realized what was happening. You see, this guy was just one of those poor farmers who was trying to escape across our lines with his family to safety because he didn't want to fight. And so I yelled at my guys to take out the Fedayeen, and I ran as fast as I could to get there to save this guy's family. But by the time I got there, it was too late. I looked in the passenger seat. His wife had been shot in the face and in the chest. She was slumped over dead. I looked in the back seat. He had a little baby girl in the back whose arm had been shot off. She was shot in the head. He was cradling the body of his little 6-year-old daughter who had been shot in the stomach, and she was choking on her own blood. And this guy was beside himself. In a matter of 2 seconds, he lost everything he had in this world. And for the first time in the war, everything slowed down for me. And I put myself in this guy's shoes. I thought to myself, you know, I live in a world of choices. Where do I want to go to school? Where do I want my kids to grow up? What were this guy's choices when he woke up this morning? He could strap a bomb on himself. He could watch his kids starve to death. He had no choices. And that was the beginning of a powerful awakening in me. I got really, really angry. It wasn't fair. It wasn't fair that the GPS coordinates of a man's birthplace dictate what choices he has in this world. I'd seen a lot of bad stuff in the war before that and a lot after that, but I'd never seen something so unjust. And that was the beginning of a 2-year conversation with my guys and I in the unit as we were fighting. We started to see there was a gap. See, there were guys like us, special operators, who were operating these villages trying to help out, but honestly, we were trained to take out targets. We were not trained to help farmers increase crop yields. And there were well-intentioned aid workers there also who were trying to help with humanitarian assistance, disaster relief, short-term solutions, but there was nothing long-term. And many of them were getting kidnapped and killed. So we began to see a need for a third way, a new way of development, to be able to empower these villages in these really volatile conflict zones, to be able to lift themselves out of extreme poverty with a long-term economic development model, but staff it with former operators like myself who know how to handle ourselves in those situations. And that was the beginning of the genesis of the idea that I had for this new organization called Nuru International. A radically new approach, a sustainable, innovative approach to eradicating extreme poverty in some of the most violent, fragile states around the world. In an attempt to give people trapped in poverty alternatives to joining violent extremist movements. And I made one of the toughest decisions I had to make at that time, and I left the Marine Corps on this path to build this organization. Went to business school, as Tom mentioned, and then built this organization with my classmates and some investors. Moved to one of the poorest districts in Kenya and launched in September of 2008. And since that time, we've grown to have tremendous impact on the continent. And it's a really exciting time right now because we're getting ready to go into some really, really tough conflict zones right now to really fulfill the vision that I had on Highway 7 that day. So that's a snapshot of my story and the journey that brought me on this stage today to talk to you guys tonight. It's one tiny example of what can happen when an individual steps forward and says, if not me, then who? You know, I wasn't trained in international development. I was not an aid worker. I wasn't a Peace Corps dude. I was a Marine. But I looked around and I saw a need. I looked around and I saw suffering. And I took a step forward, trusting, taking a risk, like so many of you already have. You know, I get asked a lot by my friends and my family why I chose to fight in the war. You know, war is such a terrible thing. It's one of the worst things that we can do to each other as human beings. Stories get written in combat that you simply cannot unwrite. But there is evil in this world. Evil that fuels the inequality, the injustice, and the oppression of freedom around the world. Evil that makes our armed forces a necessity. And it was the horrors of combat that shaped and molded me into the leader that you see before you today. So when people ask me that question, why did you fight? Honestly, the answer is very simple. 2 reasons. Reason number 1, my brother on my right and my brother on my left. To fight to get those guys home to the loved ones, the families I knew were waiting for them. And the second reason, and perhaps a more deep reason, I chose to fight for the idea that is America. The idea that is America. A nation that stands for the freedom of human rights and lasting, meaningful choices for everyone, everywhere. You know, our nation stands at a real crossroads right now. We have daunting challenges ahead of us, both internationally and domestically. ISIS and Al-Qaeda grow in strength and number daily by preying on the desperation of impoverished nations to fuel their movements. Here at home, our leaders are blindly divided across deep-seated political party lines. The people of our country live in fear and sometimes blind hatred of each other. We've lost sight of what unites us. We've lost sight of what makes us Americans. But as I look out in this audience tonight, I see hope. I see a room full of veteran, seasoned leaders from across the country, all walks of life, all levels of power. And I want to ask us tonight, the collective tonight, to consider the state of our union. Consider the state of America tonight. Let's ask ourselves right here, right now, if not me, then who? If not me, then who? As Teddy Roosevelt said so famously, it's not the critic that counts. It's not the man who points out where the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who's actually in the arena, whose face is marred with dust and sweat and blood. What does that mean for us to get into the arena? It's going to mean sacrifice. To repair our nation, it's going to be a long, difficult road. But I can assure you that that path is well known and well worn by many of the bold, brave leaders in this room today who have gone before us, who now stand ready to support us. Every generation will make its own indelible mark on the face of this great nation. And now it's our turn. We cannot shy away from our call of duty. We must step forward now, as Travis and so many others have before us, from the rank and file, because as Teddy Roosevelt continues, in the end, at best, we're going to know the triumph of high achievement. And at worst, if we fail, well, at least we fail while daring greatly, so that our place will never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. The time has come for us. The time has come for our generation. Let's not let this moment in history slip from our fingers. I encourage us to step together into the arena and deliver on the promise that is America, to bring hope and freedom once again to our nation and to the world. Thank you.
Wow. Shit, you got my vote, man. Damn, I'm in your corner. Every speaking engagement I get from now on, I'm passing it on to you. Like, don't pay me, pay him. Great job. Wow, amazing. Gave us a lot to think about. I don't even know what else I could say besides just following the script at this point. No more jokes for JR. Thank you very much, man. Thank you for making us all not only realize the impact that we all can have, but also realizing that there's so much more that we can all do. Thank you very much, man, for just being an amazing leader and an amazing example, and not only doing it by action, but speaking it so eloquently, man. Thank you, seriously. Damn, I'll buy you a drink later. Tonight's guest of honor is someone who has steadily risen through the ranks of the United States Marine Corps. General John Paxton Jr. currently serves as the 33rd Assistant Commandant of the Marine Corps since his nomination in December of 2012. Prior to his current assignment, he commanded infantry units from the platoon level to the division level. General Paxton previously served at the Pentagon, most recently as Director of Operations for the Joint Staff. He was also the Corps Assistant Deputy Commandant for Programs and Resources. Among his responsibilities, the Assistant Commandant of the Marine Corps leads the service's Executive Forest Preservation Board, which advocates policies designed to promote marine safety and well-being. A native of Pennsylvania, well, I thought that would get some applause, I guess not. He graduated from Cornell University with a Bachelor and Master of Science degree in Civil Engineering and was commissioned through Officer Candidate School in 1974. General Paxton commanded the 1st Battalion, 8th Marines in support of operation in Bosnia and Somalia, and later the 1st Marine Regiment. General Paxton is a graduate of the U.S. Army Infantry Officer Advanced Course and Marine Corps Command and Staff's College. It's a mouthful. He has also served as a Commandant's Fellow at the Brookings Institute as well as the Council on Foreign Relations. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor to introduce tonight's guest of honor, the Assistant Commandant of the United States Marine Corps, General John Paxton.
I have no idea what that music is either. JR, thanks for the gracious and overly long introduction. And ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor and a privilege to be with you this evening. I'm going to try and follow Jake's lead here and stay away from the table. I hope I'm half as good as you were, my friend, and not just in the words, but in the deeds. So well done, well done. Ladies and gentlemen, the job tonight will surprise you. I want to bring just a uniform perspective to character matters. And if not me, then who? No surprise. I am delighted to be here. I would be remiss if I didn't start the right way by thanking Janet and thanking Tom for the way you honor Travis, for the wheels that you put in motion with the organization here, and for the many, many volunteers and supporters who are here. Amy and everybody else. So first and foremost, I'd like those of us in uniform right now to give a round of applause for those who volunteer their time, their talent to take care of growing leaders, folks who have lost loved ones, and those who have opportunities in the future. So thank you all very, very much. Thank you. So ladies and gentlemen, I am indeed a native of Pennsylvania. More importantly, I'm a native of Philadelphia. So, yeah, when we root for football, we wear green and white and root for the Eagles, the IGGLES. So we don't do the Steelers, okay? And when we come back up here, as good as the meal is, I still wish I was down in South Philly getting a cheesesteak. So my wife has to remind me periodically to speak a little slower, and that the glass on the table is full of water, W-A-T-E-R, instead of water. And we're good with that. But today, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to spend a few minutes to talk about Philadelphia first, about our nation second, about your United States Marine Corps third. And if you'll bear with me, and I know the secretary had to depart here, but it's about all the services: soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, coasties, National Guard, officer or enlisted, active or reserve, it doesn't matter. It's about those great Americans who wear the cloth of our nation and serve. And as I reminded a few earlier this evening, it doesn't matter war or peace. You raised your right hand, you took an oath, and you wrote a blank check to put it all on the line if you needed to do it. So I want to talk a little bit about those few and the proud, that 0.5% who say, if not me, then who? But let's start in Philadelphia. I don't do jokes. As my wife will tell you, I either forget the punchline or it's inappropriate to the audience. But being a good, trained well by the gunny many years ago, you do have to have an attention gainer. And if you're not going to do a joke, you have to have a way to kind of get the crowd to focus with you. So I'd like to do moment in history. And I'm fond of doing that because if you don't live history, you're doomed to repeat it. So tonight, this very night, in 1736, in the city of brotherly love, an aspiring printer who had run away from Boston and had yet to make his mark on the fledgling colonies of the world, got together with a couple friends. And Ben Franklin founded the first Union volunteer fire department in Philadelphia. If not me, who? Taking care of fellow citizens. Taking care of, at the time, mates, colonial friends, long before they were American citizens. If not me, then who? Today in 1979, the World Health Organization declared that the world was eradicated of the scourge of smallpox. Had taken 20 years to get vaccines around the world and to get people out into the places where Jake goes on a daily basis to give people options. Option number one is life. 20 years. It was people like Johnson & Johnson and the pharmaceuticals who came up with the vaccines. Again, if not me, who? So if you'll fast forward with me today, as a Marine, we always have special days in Marine history. It's easy in November because the United States Marine Corps was born 240 years ago, this month in November. I know it's December now, but you'll have to forgive me. We celebrate our birthday a long time. But the birthday of the Marine Corps is only about 16 blocks from here. It's down on 2nd in Water, right along the water, in a place called Tum Tavern. Now, I know it'll surprise you that the Marine Corps was born in a bar. It'll surprise you that we've been fighting ever since. I'm not sure whether we're fighting for who's going to pick up the tab or whatever, okay? But the Marine Corps is proud of its roots here in Philadelphia. And the Marine Corps has a long and storied tradition. And I'd like to talk a little bit about the Marine Corps. And if you'll bear with me, my battle buddies from the Army, my shipmates from the Navy, my wingmen from the Air Force, and everybody else. It's just because I'm going to use a few illustrative examples of, if not me, then who? So the United States Marine Corps, as I said, 240 years old, 240 years proud. But this week, the second week in December, in 1941, there were several hundred Marines that were trapped, knowing they were going to die, in a little place called Wake Island in the South Pacific. The previous Sunday, Pearl Harbor had been attacked. Thousands had been killed. Battleship Row was sunk, and the nation was reeling. There were several hundred Marines with Major Jimmy Devereaux on Wake Island fighting to survive. They had already repelled one Japanese attack. With a few anti-aircraft guns, a few aircraft, and some machine gunners, they had actually either stopped or sunk 9 out of 13 ships that were trying to take Wake Island. And the news got back to mainland USA. And the Marines on the island and their corpsmen, their pharmacist mates, knew that if they could keep fighting and keep holding out, they'd send a message back to the mainland that we haven't lost everything, that our spirit's still there, that we got a way ahead. And indeed, they held out again for a second attack on the 23rd of December until they were all either captured or killed. Some of them became POWs for the rest of the war. Jimmy Devereaux survived the war, Medal of Honor recipient for his actions on Wake Island, retired as a brigadier general to a farm in Annapolis. But all of those defenders of Wake Island, to include one of our squadrons now, who are the Wake Island Avengers, live the motto, if not me, who? It was about stepping into the breach, about demonstrating initiative, and about demonstrating endurance. And the endurance and the fortitude was the character counts. The character matters. So much so that today, and my guess is out of those 500, we're probably down to single or low double digits of Wake Island veterans who may still be alive. But if you ever see them, you will know them immediately. If they're ever, and they're humble, humble men, but if they ever wear a uniform, you can look on their World War II campaign ribbon, and there's a W there. Since the Second World War, the only other devices we have on insignia are either stars, V's for valor, or oak leaf clusters. But that single unit from that single battle is authorized to wear a W. And you know you're looking at a Wake Island defender. Character, initiative, fortitude. If not me, who? A year later, many here are Marines, 1st Marine Division, Blue Diamond, one of our famous divisions. But a year later, the Blue Diamond is on Guadalcanal, and we still haven't won that first battle to turn the tide in the Second World War. But Major Alexander Archer Vandergrift and the Blue Diamond is on Guadalcanal, and they're trying to push back relentless attacks from the 7th of August until the 23rd of February. But this week, they start to hand over to the Army, to the 2nd Marine Divisions, because for the first 4 months, they've turned the tide. Despite horrendous casualties, Charlie 1-7, John Basilone, great Marines, they've turned the tide of the Second World War. It's not the beginning of the end, but it's the end of the beginning. That was the high water mark. 1st Marine Division, if not me, then who? You fast forward 6 more years, and now the Army, RCT 31, the Marines, 1st Marine Division again, they're in Korea. Many of them think they were going to go to Kobe, Japan. The ships were redirected. They went down to Busan. They spent 5 weeks in the Busan perimeter, went down, around again, landed in Incheon, across the seawall at Blue Beach, along the Han River into Seoul. And they've won 3 or 4 successive battles over the course of 4 or 5 months. But in early November, Douglas MacArthur brings them all the way around after the Incheon landing and puts them in Hamnung and Wonsan on the northeast coast of Korea. And they're going to start the movement up to the Yalu River. They're going to turn the tide of the Korean conflict, and they're going to bring everybody back home from Christmas. And there's pictures of the birthday ball with the 1st Marine Division in Hamhung and Wonsan, cutting a birthday cake in about 38 to 42 degree weather. Shirt sleeves, celebrating their birthday. 3 weeks later, they were fighting for their life in 30 degrees below zero, in old clothing, not against the North Koreans, but against 8 Chinese communist divisions. If not me, then who? Now, you could go on and I could go on, but I'll spare you for the rest of the night. My point is that be it the Marine Corps, be it the Army, be it the Navy, every generation since this great country was founded, there have been men and women who have said, if not me, then who? The reason we're here tonight is because the Travis Manion Foundation recognizes their namesake, First Lieutenant Travis Manion, who I had the honor and privilege of knowing in 1st Marine Division, who served nobly, along with his classmate and battle buddy, Brendan Looney, another example of the next generation of, if not me, then who? I had the honor and privilege of looking out over the audience tonight, talk to some of the color guard from 314. We have a Navy lieutenant here. She graduated from the Naval Academy a year ago. She's going to be an S-60 pilot. We got a Marine lieutenant here who's going to fly fixed wing. They're still here, the next generation. If not me, then who? So not purely by accident, by happenstance, I had a couple quotes tonight too. So Jake and I didn't rehearse this together. I don't want you to think we did that, okay? But I stole a couple from Teddy Roosevelt and a couple from Abraham Lincoln because we happen to be in this room. So Abraham Lincoln talked about the difference between reputation and character. He said, reputation is like the shadow, but the character is like the tree. People enjoy the shadow. People marvel in the shadow. People watch how long the shadow is cast. But it's the tree where the real work is done. And Teddy Roosevelt, an Army veteran, San Juan Hill Colonel, Rough Riders himself, as our president, Nobel Award recipient himself. Teddy Roosevelt said it is character. He said character is the most defining attribute in an individual and in a nation. So my thanks tonight is to Tom and to Janet and to Amy and to everybody here for reminding us and for instilling character, that character does count, and if not me, then who? For what you do with our high school recipients, for Kyle, for Dominic, for Brianna, all three of whom we're incredibly proud of. And I really meant, even though I said no pressure, it is pressure. I expect you to be leaders because you've already shown you have the right stuff. You've already stepped forward when everybody else stepped back. And I know you'll do it because I know the drive and the pressure comes from within, and we're incredibly proud of you. And for the 11 families here who are our Gold Star families, be they wives, mothers, fiancés, parents, thank you for putting your costly sacrifice on the altar of freedom, and then for stepping back and taking that really hard, deep breath to say, I can still give myself. I can honor him or her. I can cherish the memory, but I can let him or her live through me and my actions and the things that I believe in. Former Commandant, now the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, good friend of mine, Joe Dunford, says, you know, you got to have a dream in order to have a dream come true. And I admire the Manion Foundation for having a dream and for working energetically, tirelessly to have that dream come true. I thank the corporate sponsors here tonight. I thank the individual sponsors here tonight. And I thank those role models and exemplars who have either benefited from working with the foundation, who give their time and talent to the foundation. You make a difference. My last quote tonight is from Abraham Lincoln again. He says, when Americans cease to be good, America will cease to be great. We do indeed, despite the trials and travails that you see on the evening news, despite the challenges you'll see with policy downrange, we all know in our heart of hearts, we live in the greatest nation on the face of the earth. And we know that we're the shining beacon on the hill that everybody else wants to be like. In our heart of hearts, we're going to keep working to make sure that what they want to be like is what we want to become, that we're going to really give the best example. So on behalf of the United States Marine Corps, I'm honored and privileged to be with you tonight to represent part of that 1/2 of 1%, to represent part of that next generation, to thank you all for your support for the Travis Manion Foundation, your leadership of the foundation, and tell you all, God bless you, and Semper Fidelis.
All right, so before we conclude tonight's event, you're in for a special performance. Please welcome to the stage a celebrated Navy SEAL and country music artist, Pete Scobell.
It's always Army guy dancing around like he's a country guy. So, everybody stand up. Who's got numb butt syndrome? Got numb butt syndrome? All right. Put your left foot in, put your right foot in. We're all good. Turn around, say hi to everybody. Who has to pee? I promise you I will be brief, be brilliant, and be gone. Have a seat. So who's Navy playing this weekend? Some high school team? Let's go. Everybody wants to celebrate the underdog. You can root for the underdog all you want. It's kind of like, yeah, go Army. That's cool. You can eat a turd because it looks like a Tootsie Roll. Same thing. Just kidding. The song, there's two types of people in this world. Those who run from gunfire and those who run to it. And, a lot of stories tonight, but I lost a lot of friends in the last few years, and this song was about kind of what happens, so. I went wild and tried to kill a bottle of Crown. And then I tried to wash it down with something I know wasn't good. And I went wild, screaming my pain out loud. On my knees all prayed out, and cursing God for what it took. I went wild when they laid my best friend in the ground. It sank in more than 6 feet down. Oh, how I'm gonna miss your smile. And I went wild when they threw the dirt on your grave. It was like throwing it in my face. And that's something I can't reconcile. We shared hooks and bait, the glory days, and my heart ached, and I went wild. They said it was wild, how you charged into a hail of rounds, saving your brothers while you were going down, laughing on crazy, still giving them hell. You were so wild, wouldn't want it any other way. Now you're on the wall with the heroes' names. Oh man, that's your story too. And I went wild when they laid my best friend in the ground. It sank in more than 6 feet down. I'm gonna miss your smile. And I went wild when they threw the dirt on your grave. It was like throwing it in my face. And that's something I can't reconcile. We shared hooks and bait, the glory days, and my heart ached. And I went wild like we did when we were state champs, kings of the high school dance. You threw me that touchdown, and the whole town went wild. And I went wild. And I went wild when they laid my best friend in the ground. It sank in more than 6 feet down. I'm gonna miss your smile. And I went wild when they threw the dirt on your grave. It was like throwing it in my face. And that's something I can't reconcile. We shared hooks and bait, the glory days, and my heart ached. And I went wild. And I'm still wild. Thank you. There's usually a bunch of jokes about me being like having a bouncing a ball on my nose and stuff like that. So there's I want to play you 2 more songs, if you don't mind. You can say 1 more, 2 more, your vote. You're like, yeah, no, I'll go for 3 hours. We're all good. So on on August 11th, or August 6th, 2011, we had a helicopter crash. I woke up in the morning and I looked at my phone, and I lost like 20 of my friends. And it was one of those very surreal moments in your life. I didn't know what to, basically I got a phone call, and John Tomlinson, JT, who's a Gold Squadron guy, he was in my wedding, and JT called me and said, he didn't call me, he was dead, his family called me, and they said, in his Keiko sheet, you have to sing at his funeral. And I went on a run. I ran out of my house and I went for a run, and I didn't know what do you play, what do you sing? And the song came on, and it was a song about why we do what we do, and it was written by a guy I went to the Naval Academy with. And so I sang it at his funeral, and then I was voluntold, which anybody in the military knows how that works. I was voluntold to sing it at Arlington when we buried all of our guys. Sang at Arlington, I never sang it again. Mostly because that day I sat in front of the families and I sang it, and it was almost paralyzing for me to sing this song in front of those families. And, I probably do 100 shows a year right now, and this is a song that I avoid like the plague. What people don't get, I think the day, and I told Tom this, the day it really hit me, because I knew both Travis and Brendan at the Naval Academy. They were my underclass, and it hit me like just a ton of bricks in my living room when I walked out and I was watching Fox News and maybe CNN. There's people who don't like Fox News. It's cool, but I was watching the news at the time, and I watched the Westboro Baptist Church protest the funeral. And there was this visceral reaction I had that I can't even explain to you. And it was the first time I had this immense wave of grief hit me. And I was so mad because I was like, I knew these guys, and I lived that world, and this is my brotherhood. And these people are protesting something that they don't even understand, that's so powerful and so amazing. And they don't know why it's so amazing. And I remember I just broke down in tears, and that was the first time I cried in grief when I lost all my friends, and it kind of hit me all at once. So I played this song a few times, and if you'd allow me, I'd like to play it again. I've never really played it, but it says anybody who's in the military here knows why we do what we do. And Jake, you said it earlier, and General, you talked about it. It's not about the flag. It's not about America. It's, to be brutally honest, it's about the guy that's right next to you, because that's all you care about. That's what's going to get you home, and that's what drives you to do things that you would never do for yourself. And the song's called, I'll just sing it. It's a big old world, and it's hard to find some good advice and just peace of mind. When they ask what drives a man to leave his home, well, I can't explain. It's not the hope of a better place or the greater good for the human race. You know the thoughts I fall to sleep to, with not some sense of pride. I find the only explanation, all the ones I stand beside. Been more comfortable, and I've lived in better places. I found my friends are all I need to set me free. They say that people go to heaven for the climb, but they'll go through hell. They'll go through hell for the company. Well, out here it's rough, any place we roam. I miss my kids, and I miss my home. I hear the ocean, but the ocean don't hear me. On my ship at sea. But I'm not alone. Yeah, I'm with some men who stand right by me until the end. It's the belief in other people that keep us staying strong. And as I take a look around me, find the reasons I hold on, been more comfortable, and I've lived in better places. Found my friends are all I need to set me free. They say that people go to heaven for the climb, but they'll go through hell. I'll go through hell for the company. 'Cause I've been battered down, broken, when my hope was miles away. But these bonds, they are unspoken. That's why I stay another day. A bit more comfortable, and I've lived in better places. You found my friends are all I need to set me free. They say that people go to heaven for the climb, but they'll go through hell for the company. Thank you. Share hands. Who has to go to the bathroom? Tom said I could play 3. I'll do 2. You said 3. Ryan? Are you okay? I got to check with Ryan. All right, one more. So I'll leave you with a song about hope. It's on my new album. And I don't know. I guess we find everybody finds God in a different place. Sitting on the porch, watching the sun begin to shine while it's still raining. It's so amazing. All the leaves are dying on the trees, but they're going out blazing. It's so amazing. Not a day goes by that I don't swear, yeah, there's gotta be a God out there. Just the other day I saw a random act of kindness in this cruel city, and it stayed with me. A stranger stopped a homeless man, put 100 in his cup, 'cause it was empty, and then it hit me. If there are ordinary angels everywhere, yeah, there's there's gotta be God out there. There are days I have my doubts like everybody else. I'm only human. But then I take a look around and I get overwhelmed by what I'm seeing. I can't help believing. Have you ever been so low that you can't get up on your own? You're just helpless and out of chances. You're about to lose it all, and there's no one you can call. So you turn to what you never turn to. Then you get that answered prayer. Yeah, there's gotta be God out there. There are days I have my doubts like everybody else. I'm only human. Then I take a look around and I get overwhelmed by what I'm seeing. I can't help believing. Yeah, there's gotta be God out there. There's gotta be a God out there. Sitting on the porch watching the sun begin to shine while it's still raining. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Tom. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you all for being here, and God bless. And God bless this great nation.
Thank you, Pete, for such a touching performance. The songs really sum up the reason why we're here this evening. At the end of the day, it's about the brave men and women who have made the ultimate sacrifice and the duty we all have to honor their legacy through service. This is why the focus of the Travis Manion Foundation is to honor the fallen by challenging the living. Tonight has been truly inspiring on all accounts, from the motivating words of Secretary McDonald to General Paxton, to each of the inspirational stories of how character is being put into action. And we can see that the "if not me, then who" movement is happening across America. This movement will only continue to grow and impact lives with your support. As you leave this evening, I encourage you to take advantage of the table cards in front of you. Staff members will be available at the registration table to process your donation, or you can fill out the card and leave it in the drop box. Also, anyone who is yet to pick up their complimentary photo prints will be able to find them at the registration table as well. I want to thank all of you on behalf of the Travis Manion Foundation for joining us this evening. It truly has been an inspiration for me personally, and I hope that it has been the same for every single one of you. We thank you guys so much for choosing to be here this evening and being a part of the "if not me, then who" movement. Safe travels, good night, and we'll see you next year. Thanks again.
The heart is a bloom